Right now, your bank is using your money. You're not. And I don't mean that in a tinfoil hat, money is fake kind of way. I mean it literally. The dollars you think are sitting in your account, safe, waiting with your name on them, most of them aren't actually in there. The bank lent them out this morning, probably to someone buying a house at 7%. And for the privilege of lending out your money, your bank pays you back about 1 cent on every $100. Let me tell you how I actually figured this out, because it wasn't in a finance class. It was a Tuesday, and it cost me $35 to buy a $4 coffee. I had about $15,000 sitting in a checking account at one of the big national banks. Had it parked there for years. It was my just-in-case money, and I basically never thought about it. It just sat there, and honestly, that felt responsible. It felt safe. Then one morning, I tap my card for a coffee, and a few days later I'm scrolling my statement, and there it is, a $35 overdraft fee on a $4 coffee. And I'm thinking, that's impossible. I had thousands in that account. So I call them, and while I'm sitting on hold, for 26 minutes, but who's counting, I start actually reading my statement for the first time in my life. And here's what I find. The bank had taken all my transactions from that day and reordered them, not in the order they actually happened, biggest to smallest. Why does that matter? Because if you line up the biggest charge first, you can drain the account down to nothing, and then every little charge after it bounces. One overdraft quietly becomes 3. They didn't break a single rule. They just arranged my own money in the exact order that cost me the most. And that's the moment it clicked for me. I'd always pictured my bank as a vault, a big stone room that holds my stuff and keeps it safe. But a vault doesn't reorder your gold to charge you extra. A business does. So while I was still on hold, I did the other math, the math I'd been avoiding for years. That $15,000 earning basically nothing in checking, if it had been in a high-yield savings account earning 4 or 5%, over those years it would have made me almost $3,000, just sitting there, doing nothing but existing. Almost $3,000 that I quietly handed over for the feeling of being safe. And the overdraft fee? That wasn't even the part that made me feel dumb. The part that really got me came later, when I figured out why old bank branches are built like ancient Greek temples. The marble columns, the giant ceilings. There's a reason for all of it, and it's not architecture. But I'll get there. So let's start with the thing nobody explains when you open an account. When you deposit money, you are not a customer storing valuables. You are a lender. You're loaning the bank your money, and you're doing it at the worst interest rate in the entire building. Here's how the machine works. You hand the bank $100. They pay you a penny a year to hold it. That's the 0.01% on a basic big bank savings account. Then they take your 100 and lend it back out. As a mortgage at 7%, as a car loan at 9%, as a credit card balance at 22%. The gap between what they pay you and what they charge everyone else, that gap is the whole business. Bankers have a polite name for it. They call it net interest margin. I call it the reason the bank's building is a lot nicer than mine. And look, a business making money isn't a scandal. That's what businesses do. What got under my skin was realizing how much of that money comes from moments they design on purpose, like my coffee. That transaction reordering thing I told you about, that wasn't a glitch at my specific bank. That was an industry practice. Multiple big banks got sued over exactly this and paid out hundreds of millions in settlements, because lining up your charges high to low to squeeze out extra overdraft fees was just how it was done. And overdraft fees as a whole? In a single recent year, U.S. banks pulled in around $6 billion from them. Billion, with a B. And that's after the number dropped from way higher than that. $35 at a time, mostly landing on the people who had the least money in their accounts to start with. Here's the psychology piece. Overdraft protection is usually something you have to opt into, but banks learned a long time ago that almost nobody ever changes a default setting. We don't read the little checkboxes, we trust the setup. So the boxes get checked in the direction that helps them, and we just... Now, in fairness, am I being a little too hard on them here? Maybe, because overdraft protection has genuinely saved people. There's a version of this where your rent check clears instead of bouncing, and you dodge a much bigger disaster. That's real. I'm not pretending the whole thing is cartoon villain evil. But overdraft fees? At least you can see them on a statement. The next trick? You'll never get a notification about it. It's printed right there on your bill, in the one spot designed for your eyes to slide right past. Years ago, I read a book by Dan Ariely called Predictably Irrational, and there's one idea in it I think about every single time I open a bill. He showed that when you put a number in front of someone, their brain quietly grabs onto it, treats it like the right number, the normal number, even when that number is terrible for them. Once you catch your own brain doing it, you can't stop seeing it. So now look at a credit card statement. Big balance up top. And right next to it, in friendly little print, minimum payment due, $40. And your brain immediately grabs the small number. $40? I can do $40. Done. Here's what $40 actually does. Say you've got a $5,000 balance at 22%. Pretty normal these days. If you pay just the minimum every month, you're not clearing that in a year or 3 years. You're looking at years and years. And by the time it's finally gone, you can easily have paid as much in interest as the thing you bought cost you in the first place. You basically buy that balance twice. Actually, let me be straight, because the exact number depends on your card. Some minimums are a little higher, some lower, but the direction never changes. The smaller they make that minimum number, the longer they keep earning interest off you. The minimum payment isn't there to help you pay it down. It's a leash with a number printed on it, set just loose enough that you never feel it pulling. And every bit of this, the spread, the fees, the leash, it all depends on one single feeling. A feeling banks have spent over 100 years and a frankly absurd amount of money building into you. Which brings us back to those marble columns. So why are old bank buildings built like temples? Giant stone columns out front, marble floors, ceilings you could fit a cathedral inside, and a vault with a door thick enough to survive a bomb sitting right there in the lobby where everybody can see it. It's not because they needed the storage space. It's a costume. Before deposits were insured by the government, a bank had exactly one product to sell you: the feeling that your money was safe with them. So they built buildings that screamed permanence, solid, eternal. We're not going anywhere, and neither is your money. The architecture was the marketing. And here's the part that actually changed how I handle my own money. That feeling, safe, settled, don't even think about it, is the single most profitable thing a bank owns. Because the second you feel safe, you stop shopping. You stop checking the rate. You stop moving the money. And banks know, down to the decimal point, that you won't move it. That's how your big bank savings rate can sit at 0.01% while accounts paying 4% exist 20 minutes away on the phone in your pocket. They are not failing to compete with those rates. They are choosing not to, because they've already run the numbers on human laziness, and they are right about us. Your inertia isn't a personal flaw. It's a line item in their business model. They've already done the math on you not moving your money. They are not worried about you. So I'll just say it, and you can come fight me in the comments. There is no such thing as a loyal bank. Loyalty to a bank is a one-way street where only you pay the toll. Your bank would not lose 1 second of sleep if you closed your account tomorrow, so you shouldn't lose a second either. Now, the honest counter-argument here, and it's a genuinely good one, is convenience. The big banks have branches everywhere, ATMs on every corner, apps that actually work. Your whole financial life is already wired into them, and switching feels like surgery. And yeah, that's worth something. I'm not telling you to close everything and go bury cash in the backyard. But here's the move I actually made, and tell every friend who will sit still long enough to listen. The rule I follow now? Keep about 1 month of expenses in the convenient big bank checking account. That's your day-to-day, your bills, your rent, your ATM money. That 1 month is what their convenience is honestly worth. Everything beyond that, every single dollar of just-in-case money goes into a high-yield savings account where it earns real interest. It's still safe. It's still insured up to $250,000. It's still yours, in your hands in a day or two if you ever need it. It just stops being an interest-free loan you forgot you ever gave the bank. Opening one took me about 20 minutes. 20 minutes against the almost $3,000 I'd quietly handed over while patting myself on the back for being responsible. Oh, and one more thing, because I already know someone's typing the question about credit card points. Look, if you pay your card off in full every single month, the points are basically free money and the bank eats the cost. Good for you, take the trip. But if you're carrying a balance to earn points, you're paying 22% to claw back 1.5%. That's not a rewards program. It's a fee with a frequent flyer logo slapped on it. So that $35 coffee turned out to be the most useful $4 I've ever spent. Because of that one fee, I finally read my own statement, did the math I'd dodged for years, and found the almost $3,000 the marble columns had quietly talked me out of. Your bank isn't a vault. It's a business, and a very, very good one, built on the quiet bet that you'll always feel too safe to ever actually check. So check. Go look at the rate on your savings account right now. Like, actually pause this video and go look. If that number starts with a 0, you already know exactly what the building was selling you. And if this changed how you see that little minimum payment line forever, do me one favor. Drop your bank's savings rate in the comments. I want to see how low these things actually go. I'm collecting the worst ones.